Gerald is 61, lives outside Milwaukee. 10 years ago, he started putting $500 a month into VOO, the most popular index fund on the planet. He stayed consistent. He did not panic in 2022. After a full decade, Gerald has about $135,000. Not bad. But here is what Gerald does not know. While he was earning 15% per year in VOO, someone else was compounding at 37% per year in a single regulated ETF. Same monthly amount, but their account is worth over $550,000. Not a crypto bet, not a lucky stock pick, a publicly traded fund anyone can buy. In this video, I am ranking 9 ETFs against VOO, from lowest to highest return. For each one, I will show you what it holds, what it returned, and how it handled the 2022 crash. Because the best ETF is not the one with the highest number. It is the one that fits your plan. Quick note, I am not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. One rule before we start: past performance does not guarantee future results. These are historical returns. They show us patterns, but nobody can promise the next 10 years look the same. What history can tell us is which funds held up in crashes, recovered fast, and have structural advantages baked in. Consistent systems, not lucky streaks. 3 of these ETFs actually lost to VOO, and the one that lost the worst? It is sitting in millions of retirement accounts right now. Let us start there. The 3 that lost to VOO. Number 9 on the list is VXUS, the Vanguard Total International Stock ETF. Think of it as owning everything except America. Over 8,000 companies across Europe, Asia, and emerging markets. The fee is just 5 basis points. Sounds smart, right? Diversify globally. Over the last decade, VXUS returned roughly 9.7% per year. That sounds decent until you compare it to VOO at 15%. $10,000 in VXUS became about $25,000. The same $10,000 in VOO became $41,000. That's a $16,000 gap from one decision. Number 8 is VT, Vanguard Total World Stock. This one holds everything, US and international combined. Over 9,000 stocks across 49 countries. One fund, one decision. Simple and elegant. VT returned about 12% per year. Better than VXUS, but still 3 full percentage points behind VOO every single year for a decade. Number 7 is SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, and this one surprises people. SCHD holds 100 companies that have paid and grown their dividends for at least 10 consecutive years. Chevron, Coca-Cola, Merck, Pepsi. These are cash machines. Current yield sits around 3.4%, paid every quarter. SCHD returned about 12.8% per year. It lost to VOO on total return. But here's what most people miss. In the brutal 2022 bear market, when VOO dropped 24% peak to trough, SCHD fell only about 13%. That crash protection is not an accident. It's built into the design. Profitable companies with real cash flows do not fall as hard. So VXUS, VT, and SCHD all lost to VOO on total return. SCHD gets credit for crash protection and income, but the pattern is clear. The funds built for safety and diversification all underperformed. They lacked the mega-cap tech exposure that powered the entire decade. So if diversification and dividends both lost to VOO, what does it take to beat it? The answer starts with VOO itself, and a detail most investors overlook: the benchmark. What VOO actually is. VOO tracks the S&P 500, 500 of the largest and most established US companies: Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, the names running the global economy. The fee is 3 basis points. That's 3 cents for every $100 invested per year. But here's the structural advantage most people skip over. The S&P 500 is self-cleaning. Companies that stop performing get removed. Rising companies get added. You own the winners automatically without making a single decision. One quick note: SPLG is a near identical fund from State Street. Same index, 2 basis points, lower share price. If you want the S&P 500 at the cheapest cost, SPLG is worth knowing about. VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, returned about 14.5%, essentially tied with VOO. The extra 3,000 small and mid-cap stocks added almost nothing this decade. VOO returned about 15.2% per year. $10,000 became roughly $41,000. That is the bar. Everything from here on beat it. But the next three ETFs did not just edge past VOO, they crushed it by 3 to 5 percentage points per year, and one of them actually held up better than VOO in the 2022 crash. The three that beat VOO. Number 6 is SCHG, the Schwab US Large Cap Growth ETF. Think of this as VOO's growth-only cousin, same universe of large US companies, but filtered to keep only the ones showing the strongest growth characteristics, about 230 holdings. The fee is just 4 basis points. SCHG returned about 19% per year for a decade. $10,000 became roughly $57,000. That's $16,000 more than VOO from the same starting amount. The trade-off? It dropped 35% peak to trough in 2022, almost 10 points worse than VOO. Number 5 is SPMO, the Invesco S&P 500 Momentum ETF. SPMO takes the S&P 500 and filters it down to the 100 stocks showing the strongest upward price momentum. Then it weights them by momentum score times market cap. It rotates twice a year. The idea behind momentum investing is well documented. Stocks that have been rising tend to keep rising in the short to medium term. SPMO captures that pattern systematically. It returned about 20% per year over the decade. But here's the surprising part. In 2022, SPMO only dropped about 15%. That's less than VOO. The reason? Its September 2021 rebalance had already rotated it out of tech and into healthcare before the crash hit. Momentum protected it. Quick pause. Before I show you the next fund, drop a comment right now and tell me which of these ETFs are you currently holding. I read every single comment, and I'm always curious what this community is building with. Number 4 is QQQ, the Invesco 100 ETF. This one tracks the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ. In practice, that means deep concentration in technology and growth. Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta. The companies rewriting every industry on Earth. Quick note on tickers. QQQ and QQQM track the same exact index. QQQ charges 20 basis points, QQQM charges 15. If you are buying and holding, QQQM is the smarter choice. Same exposure, lower fee. QQQ returned about 21% per year over the decade. $10,000 became roughly $71,000, but in 2022 it dropped 35%, and during the dot-com crash of 2000, the NASDAQ took 14 years just to get back to break even. That kind of drawdown is survivable at age 35. At age 62, it changes your retirement. Those three beat VOO by 3 to 6 points per year, but the next two did not just beat it, they doubled it. And the number one fund on this list turned $10,000 into almost $230,000. But there's a catch nobody is talking about. The two that destroyed VOO. Number 2 is VGT, the Vanguard Information Technology ETF. If QQQ is tech-heavy, VGT is pure, undiluted technology. Over 300 companies exclusively in information technology, software, hardware, semiconductors. Nothing else qualifies. Here's what most people miss. QQQ holds Amazon, but Amazon is consumer discretionary. QQQ holds Meta, but Meta is communication services. VGT only holds companies classified directly in the technology sector. Nothing else qualifies. The top 3 holdings are Nvidia at about 18%, Apple at 14%, and Microsoft at 13%. That's 45% of the fund in just 3 companies. VGT returned about 24% per year. $10,000 became roughly $87,000. The fee is 9 basis points. And then there's number 1, SMH, the Van Eck Semiconductor ETF. If VGT is pure technology, SMH goes one level deeper. It holds only 25 companies, the ones that build the physical chips everything runs on. Every AI model, every data center, every electric vehicle, every medical device, they all need semiconductors. Nvidia, Taiwan Semiconductor, Broadcom, ASML. These are not just companies, they're the choke points of the entire global technology supply chain. SMH returned about 37% per year over the last decade. Let that settle for a moment. $10,000 became roughly $229,000. That's 18 times your money in a single regulated fund. But here's what you need to know. SMH dropped 44% peak to trough in 2022. Its all-time worst drawdown was 85% during the dot-com bust. It holds 25 companies. When semiconductors have a bad cycle, the entire fund feels it at once. This is not a core holding for most retirement portfolios. It's a focused allocation for someone with a long time horizon and a strong stomach. Every ETF that beat VOO over the last decade did it the same way, by being more concentrated, not more diversified. And concentration is a gift on the way up and a trap on the way down. So now you've seen all 9, but there's one more thing you need to know before you act on any of this, and it's the lesson that separates smart retirees from everyone else. The real lesson? What smart retirees do with this list. From 2000 to 2009, the S&P 500 returned roughly -1% per year for an entire decade. That is called the lost decade. During those same years, international stocks and small-cap value both posted strong positive returns. The NASDAQ 100, the same index that returned 21% per year recently, it took 14 years to recover from its 2000 peak. 14 years just to break even. History is clear. Whatever dominated the last decade rarely dominates the next. The styles and sectors take turns. That pattern goes back over 100 years. So what does a smart, prepared investor do with this list? Let me bring Gerald back. Gerald did not see this list and go all in on SMH. What Gerald did was look at his portfolio and realize that 95% of his money was in one fund doing one thing. He used this list to understand his concentration. Then he made 1 or 2 informed adjustments that matched his timeline and his income needs. That is the real lesson. This list is not a shopping cart. It is a mirror. Use it to see what your portfolio is actually doing, then decide if that matches where you are in life. If someone you care about is building their retirement around 1 or 2 ETFs, send them this video right now. It might change how they see their portfolio. Tell me in the comments, after seeing this full list, would you add any of these ETFs to your portfolio, or are you sticking with VOO? I want to hear your plan. If you are building retirement income and want to stay ahead of what is actually working in the market, subscribe to Dividend Hustle. I break down everything that protects and grows your money. And in the next video, I am going to show you exactly how to combine 3 of these ETFs into a retirement portfolio that balances growth, income, and protection. You do not want to miss that one.